If you crave the unknown, but fear the dark, then Delphi. After dawn is your sanctuary. As the first light of dawn breaks through the night, we embark on a journey into the mysteries that chill the spine. I'm your host, Jason King, and together, we'll explore the stories that lurk in the shadows. Each episode, we unravel chilling tales of unsolved crimes, police corruption, and heart-wrenching disappearances. Imagine a world where over 600,000 people vanished last year alone in the U.S., leaving behind only questions and heartache. Violent crime is on the rise, and the shadows grow longer each day. By joining us, you become a beacon for the voiceless, a light in the darkness. Together, we'll shine a light on society's darkest corners, uncovering the truths that hide in plain sight. From the eerie silence of abandoned buildings to the bustling streets where secrets are whispered, we leave no stone unturned. Tune in to Delphi After Dawn, where understanding is just a story away. Join us and let the journey begin. As we delve deeper, remember that every story has a heartbeat, a pulse that connects us all. We navigate through the labyrinth of human experience, seeking answers and shedding light on the unknown. So prepare yourself for a journey like no other, where every revelation brings us closer to the truth. Delphi. After Dawn is more than just a podcast. It's a community of seekers, united by curiosity and compassion. Together, we can make a difference, one story at a time. Join us and let the journey begin anew. In the shadows of the city, where secrets are commodities and trust is a luxury, one man delves into the minds of the monstrous. Welcome to the world of Jason King, a detective with a mind as sharp as a scalpel and a heart as resilient as steel. Beneath the ordinary scenes of daily life, grim tales of notorious serial killers lurk. Each one, unique in their madness, leaves behind a chilling legacy of victims and unsolvable puzzles. But the twisted minds of these murderers never elude Jason King. With every episode, the stakes rise. Every grim detail, each hideous crime, King peels back layer by layer. In a world where evil is the norm and horror is the narrative, Jason King remains steadfast. His mission? To uncover the dark consciousness of terror. His promise? Justice. This is Jason King's world, where crime is not just confronted, but comprehended. Dive deep into the chilling tales of serial killers with Jason King. This video is for educational entertainment and documentary purposes. Viewer discretion is highly advised.
William Vahi. Alicia, who's from Texas, she's on the line for us now. Alicia, thanks for talking to us here this evening. I understand you were a student of William Vahi's when he taught in Saudi Arabia. Tell us a little bit about your experience and what he was like as a teacher.
Well, I found him to be, making appropriate remarks to his class. He would make jokes about the male genitalia. And I thought that was very inappropriate for 12-year-olds to hear. I was a 7th grader, and he was my social studies teacher.
Did you have suspicions about him? Sorry to interrupt. Did you have suspicions about him at the time?
No, actually I didn't. But then later on, after I left Saudi Arabia, there were just rumors all over the place about Bill Vahi and his behavior. And he was my neighbor also. He lived 2 doors down from me. He was always... like I say, very arrogant. He picked favorites. He had favorite boy students that he liked over others. He was the type of student that should have been teaching high school students and not junior high with the type of jokes that he would make in class.
And you say he picked favorites. How did he treat them differently?
Better recommendations, I think, better grading. He just had students that he liked far better than others, and if you weren't one of his favorites, he would just give you a bad grade and make your life miserable. He gave a bad reference to a friend of mine that he didn't like, and it was terrible.
And you say there were rumours about him. How far did those rumours go? Did anyone suspect that he was a paedophile?
Yes, in fact, the rumors were later on when we would have reunions, Saudi Aramco reunions, that certain people in my circles there was 3 suicides of very popular students of his that were molested by him, and that was the rumor. And I could not believe that this guy was still teaching students, and we noticed that he would only teach outside of the U.S. He was always traveling from foreign country to foreign country, and so we never knew really where he was. But that was the rumor, that Bill Vahi molested children, and that ultimately 3 children had committed suicide as a result. So
that was the rumor, that there were suspicions.
No, it's not a rumor. I know these people.
And were those rumours ever reported to anybody? Were any other teachers at the school, do you know, told about these suspicions?
That I don't know. And like I said, this surfaced after we had left Saudi Arabia. This was just like, have you heard that all this conduct had been happening while you were a student there? And I had not. But then again, it was during the reunions where we would talk, and everyone was talking about Bill Vahi and his behavior with male students.
And what happens now? Are you in contact at all with the authorities, with the FBI, as they carry out their investigation into this man?
I am not. In fact, I just saw the FBI notice that they issued in Houston, Texas a couple of days ago. I think it was April 22nd. And like I said, we're just really, really shocked. We didn't know about Mr. Vahi's suicide at all until a couple of days ago. So there's just a lot of buzz going on right now about what we should do.
Well, yes, and given what you've learned now, that the details that have been released by the FBI, how do you feel, given your experience with this man?
I can't say I'm surprised. I'm just shocked that this guy was able to keep teaching. That's the thing. And he's obviously changed the way that he would abuse children, because again, the children that we are aware of, they absolutely knew for a fact that they were being abused. So for the fact that in England, I hear that he drugged the students, I don't think he did that when he was in Saudi Arabia.
Some have described him as a popular teacher in their school. He taught around the world, of course. Would you say that was the case in Saudi Arabia?
Yeah, he could have been popular. I didn't like him, but he could have been popular. He was that type of, he would make jokes a lot and kind of play up to the students. Not very professional at all, but, he could have been very popular. I didn't like him, but he was one of those teachers that, would would befriend students and probably, more so than a teacher should. So he could have been popular.
Alicia, we really appreciate your time. Thank you very much indeed for talking to us there from Texas. Alicia there, who was a student of William Vahi's in Saudi Arabia.
William James Vahi. The name itself seemed to command respect in the hallowed halls of international education. He was a man who, on the surface, embodied the very ideals of academia. His neatly combed hair and warm smile put parents at ease. His colleagues viewed him with admiration, a seasoned professional navigating the complexities of international teaching with grace. Students, too, were drawn to his charisma, his ability to make even the most mundane subjects engaging. Vahi was, for all intents and purposes, a model educator. He lived a life that appeared to be dedicated to shaping young minds. Vahi's passport was a testament to his global influence, stamped with visas from numerous countries. It spoke of a man dedicated to broadening the horizons of young learners. He moved from one prestigious institution to another, each assignment seemingly a testament to his dedication to education. His resume read like a guide to some of the world's most elite schools, each posting adding another layer of credibility to his persona. He was a master at blending in, at becoming an integral part of these institutions. His life was a carefully constructed narrative of success and respectability. Behind this veneer of the consummate educator, however, lurked a dark secret, a truth so monstrous, so antithetical to everything Vahi purported to represent, that its revelation would send shockwaves through the world. The man who dedicated his life to shaping young minds harbored a sinister obsession, one that would leave countless lives scarred and communities reeling in disbelief. William James Vahi, the esteemed educator, was living a lie. His carefully crafted facade was about to crumble, revealing the depths of his depravity. The man who was entrusted with the well-being and education of children was, in reality, a predator of the worst kind. And his story, a chilling tale of manipulation, abuse, and the systematic silencing of victims, was about to be exposed. The world was about to discover the dark truth behind the name William James Vahi, a truth that would forever tarnish the institutions he infiltrated and shatter the lives of those he swore to protect. William James Vahi was born in California in 1949, his early life seemingly ordinary. There were no outward signs, no red flags to suggest the darkness that lay dormant within. He excelled in school, a bright and engaging student who seemed destined for a successful future. His parents, a respected couple in their community, were proud of their son's accomplishments. He attended a prominent university, further solidifying his image as a shining example of the American dream. He was popular among his peers, known for his charisma and quick wit. He was active in extracurricular activities, a well-rounded individual who seemed to effortlessly navigate the challenges of academic life. After graduating with honors, Vahey decided to pursue a career in education, a decision met with approval from his family and mentors. His first teaching position was at a prestigious prep school, a testament to his academic credentials and affable personality. He quickly established himself as a favorite among students and colleagues alike. He had a knack for connecting with young people, for igniting their curiosity and fostering a love of learning. Parents were drawn to his warmth and enthusiasm, entrusting him with the education and well-being of their children. Vahey embraced the role of the beloved teacher, attending school events, chaperoning trips, and always making himself available to students in need. He was a master at cultivating an image of respectability, of unwavering dedication to his students' growth and development. Behind this carefully constructed facade, however, a sinister transformation was taking place. The seeds of his dark desires were beginning to sprout, fueled by the power and access his position afforded him. The respected educator was about to embark on a path of destruction, leaving a trail of shattered lives in his wake. The transformation of William James Vahey from respected educator to sexual predator was not a sudden, dramatic event. It was a gradual descent, a slow erosion of boundaries, fueled by a growing sense of entitlement and a lack of accountability. The very nature of his profession, one that placed him in a position of authority over young and impressionable minds, provided fertile ground for his dark desires to take root. At first, his transgressions were subtle, almost imperceptible to the untrained eye. An inappropriate touch here, a suggestive comment there, all masked by his otherwise charming demeanor. He was a master manipulator, skilled at testing boundaries and exploiting vulnerabilities. He preyed on the inherent trust placed in educators, using his position to groom his victims, often over extended periods. As Vahey grew bolder, his actions escalated in their depravity. He began drugging his victims. When they went on camping trips and field trips, he would put sleeping pills inside Oreo cookies and in milk to render them unconscious and unable to resist his advances. One of his victims told a story of waking up one morning and he realized he had on his friend's shorts and he was missing his underwear. Vahey documented his crimes meticulously, taking photographs and videos of his unconscious victims, creating a horrifying archive of his abuse. These images, stored on a flash drive he carried with him everywhere, served as a twisted trophy collection, a testament to the power he wielded over his victims. Yet, despite the escalating nature of his crimes, Vahey remained a respected figure in the eyes of his colleagues, students, and their families. He was a chameleon, adapting to his surroundings and maintaining the illusion of the consummate professional. He used his charisma and intelligence to deflect suspicion, always one step ahead of potential exposure. He was living a double life. His outward persona, a carefully constructed facade, concealing the monster within. Despite his calculated efforts, cracks began to appear in Vahey's carefully constructed facade. There were whispers, rumors of inappropriate behavior with students. Some colleagues noticed his unusual interest in the sleeping habits of his students, his insistence on administering medication during overnight trips. Others observed his tendency to single out certain boys for special attention, inviting them on trips and showering them with gifts. These concerns, however, were often dismissed as misunderstandings or brushed aside due to Vahey's otherwise impeccable reputation. Parents, blinded by his charm and the prestige of the institutions he represented, found it difficult to believe the rumors. Colleagues, hesitant to accuse a respected member of their community, often chose to give him the benefit of the doubt. Vahey, ever the manipulator, was adept at deflecting suspicion. He would turn on the charm, reassuring concerned parents and colleagues that their fears were unfounded. He would downplay his actions, explaining them away as innocent gestures misinterpreted by others. He was a master of deception, using his intelligence and social skills to maintain his position of trust. However, beneath the surface of his carefully crafted persona, a darkness festered. The weight of his crimes, the sheer number of victims he had accumulated over the years, was a burden he carried with him everywhere. He lived in constant fear of exposure, knowing that one misstep could bring his world crashing down around him. And as the pressure mounted, so too did the cracks in his carefully constructed facade, revealing glimpses of the monster lurking beneath. Vahey's modus operandi was as calculated as it was chilling. He targeted vulnerable boys, often those who were new to the school or struggling to fit in. He would shower them with attention, offering a listening ear and a shoulder to cry on, positioning himself as a trusted confidant, a surrogate father figure. Once he had gained their trust, he would begin to isolate them from their friends and family, encouraging them to spend more and more time with him. He would take them on special outings, plying them with gifts and showering them with praise, all the while reinforcing their dependence on him. He was a master manipulator, exploiting their vulnerabilities and insecurities to bend them to his will. Sleep medication played a crucial role in Vahey's crimes. He would often insist on administering medication to students under his care, claiming it was necessary for jet lag or to help them adjust to new time zones. His favorite snack he would drug was Oreo cookies and milk. Once his victims were unconscious, he would abuse them, taking photographs and videos to document his crimes. The sleeping pills were his weapon, rendering his victims helpless and erasing their memories of the abuse. Vahey's crimes were not confined to a single school or even a single country. His career as an international educator gave him access to a steady stream of potential victims. He moved from school to school, country to country, leaving a trail of devastation in his wake. He was a predator without borders, operating with impunity in a system that seemed almost designed to protect him. Vahe's career as an international educator provided the perfect cover for his crimes. The frequent moves, the constant stream of new faces, all served to obscure his predatory behavior. By the time suspicions arose in one location, he had already moved on to the next, leaving behind a trail of unanswered questions and silenced victims. His victims, often ashamed and afraid to speak out, rarely came forward. They were trapped in a web of secrecy and shame, silenced by the fear of not being believed, or worse, of being blamed for what had happened to them. Vahe, aware of their vulnerabilities, used their silence as a shield, his crimes remaining hidden in plain sight. Furthermore, Vahe was a master at ingratiating himself with those around him. He cultivated an image of respectability, befriending colleagues and charming parents. He was seen as a dedicated educator, passionate about his students and committed to their well-being. This carefully constructed persona made it difficult for people to reconcile the man they thought they knew with the horrific crimes of which he was accused. The international nature of his work also played a role in his ability to evade justice. Investigations were often hampered by jurisdictional issues and a lack of communication between different law enforcement agencies. Vahe exploited these loopholes, moving from country to country, always one step ahead of the authorities. His crimes were a global epidemic, facilitated by a system ill-equipped to track and punish predators who operated across borders. The true extent of Vahe's crimes remains unknown. Many of his victims, traumatized by their experiences and fearful of the stigma associated with sexual abuse, have never come forward. Those who have found the courage to speak out paint a harrowing picture of abuse and betrayal, their childhoods forever scarred by the man they once trusted. The impact of Vahe's crimes extended far beyond his victims, leaving families shattered and communities reeling. Parents grappled with guilt and anger, questioning how they could have missed the signs, how they could have failed to protect their children from such a monster. The institutions where Vahe taught, once bastions of academic excellence and trust, were left grappling with the fallout of his crimes. They faced accusations of negligence and cover-ups, their reputations tarnished by their association with a predator. The scandal sent shockwaves through the world of international education, forcing schools to confront uncomfortable truths about the vulnerabilities inherent in their systems. Vahe's case serves as a stark reminder of the insidious nature of child sexual abuse, often perpetrated by individuals who hold positions of trust and authority. It highlights the importance of vigilance, open communication, and a collective responsibility to protect children from those who would seek to harm them. The silence surrounding these crimes allows predators to flourish, their actions hidden in the shadows. Only by breaking the silence, by encouraging victims to come forward and supporting them when they do, can we hope to prevent such tragedies from happening again. William James Vahey was a chameleon, blending seamlessly into the vibrant tapestry of international education. His American passport, adorned with visas from far-flung corners of the globe, served as a testament to his nomadic existence. He moved from one prestigious institution to another, each assignment a calculated step in a sinister game of cat and mouse. His victims were scattered across continents, their lives forever intertwined by the darkness he inflicted upon them. From the bustling streets of London to the tranquil shores of Venezuela, Vahey left a trail of shattered innocence in his wake. His ability to secure teaching positions at reputable schools, despite the whispers that followed him, spoke volumes about his cunning and the systemic failures that allowed him to thrive. He sought out schools with a transient student population, where the constant influx of new faces provided a steady stream of potential victims, and it made it easier for him to blend in. He was a master of first impressions, his charm and charisma disarming even the most discerning observer. Parents, eager to provide their children with a world-class education, entrusted him with their most precious possessions, unaware of the danger lurking beneath his affable exterior. Vahey exploited the inherent trust placed in educators, using his position to gain access to vulnerable children and manipulate them into silence. He was a predator who thrived on the anonymity afforded by a globalized world. His crimes hidden in plain sight, obscured by the very institutions that should have protected his victims. Vahey's life was a carefully constructed illusion, a tapestry woven from half-truths and outright lies. He was married to a woman named Jean. She was a respectable figure in the international school circuit. Their home was an estimated $1 million inside a gated community. He traveled light, his belongings pared down to the essentials, and a sinister collection of photographs and videos documenting his crimes. He lived in a perpetual state of transition, always on the move, always one step ahead of the truth. His transient lifestyle, while seemingly glamorous on the surface, was a reflection of his inner turmoil, his inability to escape the demons that haunted him. He was a man running from himself, his past, a constant shadow, threatening to engulf him. His relationships were superficial, his interactions with colleagues and acquaintances carefully curated to maintain the facade of normalcy. He was a chameleon, adapting to his surroundings, mirroring the behaviors and beliefs of those around him to avoid detection. He was a master manipulator, skilled at reading people and playing to their expectations. Behind the mask of the charming educator, however, lurked a deep sense of loneliness and isolation. Vahey was a man living a lie, his true self hidden from the world. He craved connection, but was incapable of genuine intimacy. His capacity for empathy eroded by years of deceit and depravity. He was a prisoner of his own making, trapped in a cycle of abuse and self-destruction. Despite his meticulous efforts, whispers of Vahey's inappropriate behavior followed him like a persistent shadow. The international nature of his work made it easy for him to outrun his past. Vahey was a master of compartmentalization, able to separate his dark desires from his professional life with chilling detachment. He maintained a veneer of normalcy, attending school functions, chaperoning trips, and engaging in seemingly innocuous interactions with students and colleagues. Despite his outward confidence, Vahey's carefully constructed world was beginning to crumble. He became increasingly reckless, his behavior more erratic, as the walls he had built around himself began to close in. Vahey's carefully constructed life was unraveling. The threads of his deception snapping one by one. The intricate web of deceit that William James Vahey had so carefully woven over decades began to unravel in the most unexpected of places, a school kitchen. It was a seemingly insignificant event, a misplaced flash drive that would set in motion a chain of events leading to his downfall. The flash drive, containing Vahey's darkest secrets, landed in the hands of a school administrator, a woman named Director Stacy. Director Stacy, unaware of the horrors that lay hidden within the seemingly innocuous device, plugged it into her computer. What she saw would forever alter the course of her life and expose the truth about the man who had moved among them, cloaked in respectability and charm. As the images flickered across the screen, a wave of nausea washed over her. They were photographs, hundreds of them, each one a chilling testament to Vahey's depravity. The discovery of the flash drive sent shockwaves through the school community. Director Stacy, her resolve steeled by the horrifying images she had witnessed, wasted no time in contacting the authorities. The FBI was called in, and a full-scale investigation was launched. The man who had presented himself as a dedicated educator, a friend, a mentor, was now the target of an international manhunt. As investigators delved deeper into Vahey's past, they began to uncover a pattern of abuse spanning decades and continents. The pursuit of William James Vahey became a global manhunt, a desperate race against time, as authorities around the world scrambled to track down the fugitive educator. The FBI, working in conjunction with Interpol and law enforcement agencies in multiple countries, followed a trail of credit card receipts, travel itineraries, and witness accounts. The case, with its international scope and the horrific nature of the crimes, captivated the media. Vehi's face staring out from newspapers and television screens across the globe. The news of William James Vehi's death reached authorities with a chilling finality. He was found in the bathtub of a cheap motel room in Luverne, Minnesota, with a self-inflicted stab wound to his chest, ending his own life and his reign of terror. In the days leading up to his death, Vehi found himself trapped in a tightening spiral of fear and paranoia. The walls of his carefully constructed life, the layers of deceit he had used to shield himself from the consequences of his actions, were crumbling around him. Panic seized William James Vehi, a cold fist clenching around his heart. The news of the investigation, the realization that his meticulously constructed world was about to implode, sent him spiraling into a vortex of fear and desperation. The news reports were relentless. Each one, a nail hammered into the coffin of William James Vehi's carefully constructed life. His face, once beaming with paternal warmth in school photographs, was now plastered across television screens, a symbol of betrayal and depravity. The dingy motel room reeked of stale cigarettes and despair, a fitting sanctuary for a man on the run from his demons. William James Vehi, his face etched with exhaustion and fear, closed the door behind him. The flimsy lock a pathetic barrier against the weight of the world, crashing down around him. He'd reached the end of the line, the frantic flight from justice, culminating in this desolate room on the outskirts of nowhere. The news reports, the wanted posters, the knowledge that his crimes had finally caught up with him, left him with a chilling sense of inevitability. There was nowhere left to run. No way to outrun the truth that clawed at the edges of his sanity. He retrieved a bottle of whiskey from his bag. The amber liquid, a poor substitute for the oblivion he craved. Each swallow burned a trail of fire down his throat, offering a fleeting moment of numbness from the relentless onslaught of guilt and despair. He thought of his victims, their faces a haunting chorus in his mind, their stolen innocence a constant reminder of the depravity he could no longer outrun. The weight of their pain, their shattered lives, pressed down on him, crushing him under the weight of his sins. He was drowning in a sea of guilt, the surface of his carefully constructed life receding with each passing moment. He had reached the point of no return, the precipice where remorse and despair collided with the terrifying realization that there was no escape from the consequences of his actions. The maid's knock went unanswered. The silence from room 12, a stark contrast to the usual sounds of life that echoed through the budget motel. She knocked again, her apprehension growing, a knot of unease tightening in her stomach. It wasn't unusual for guests in this part of town to keep to themselves, but something about the stillness behind the door felt different, unsettling. Using her master key, she cautiously entered the room, the air thick with the cloying scent of stale alcohol and something else, something metallic and unsettling. She opened the bathroom door, and that's when her eyes locked in on him laying in the bathtub, blood splattered everywhere with a single knife stuck in his chest. William James Vahey, the man whose face had been plastered across television screens, his name synonymous with unspeakable acts, lay dead in the bathtub of a cheap motel room. A big knife buried in his chest, marking the end of his reign of terror. A suicide note, penned in a shaky hand, lay on the nightstand. A final, desperate attempt to explain the unexplainable, to justify the unjustifiable. The discovery of his body sent ripples of shock and disbelief across the globe, the news spreading like wildfire through the communities he'd violated. For some, his death brought a sense of closure, a finality that allowed them to begin the difficult process of healing. For others, it was a hollow victory, a stolen opportunity to confront the man who'd shattered their lives, to demand accountability for the pain he'd inflicted. The world, however, would have to grapple with the legacy of William James Vahey, the man who used his position of trust to prey on the vulnerable. His crimes a stark reminder of the darkness that can lurk beneath the surface of seemingly ordinary lives. His death, while marking the end of his reign of terror, didn't erase the pain he'd inflicted, the scars he'd left on the lives of so many. The world, forever changed by his crimes, would have to find a way to heal, to move forward, carrying the weight of his legacy as a reminder of the vigilance required to protect the innocent and the importance of holding predators accountable for their actions. The silence was deafening. It hung heavy in the air, a suffocating presence in the aftermath of William James Vahey's death, a silence born of fear, of shame, of the insidious pressure that keeps victims of abuse locked in their own personal prisons of pain. Vahey's suicide, a final act of cowardice, robbed his victims of their chance for justice, their opportunity to confront the man who had shattered their lives. It left a void, a gaping wound in the lives of those he abused, a constant reminder of the darkness he had unleashed upon the world. In the wake of his death, whispers of his crimes began to surface, like tendrils of smoke rising from the ashes of a carefully constructed lie. Victims, emboldened by the safety of anonymity and distance, shared their stories, their voices trembling with a mixture of anger, pain, and a profound sense of betrayal. Each story, a chilling testament to Vahey's depravity, added another layer to the portrait of a predator who had moved through the world with impunity. His true nature, hidden behind a mask of respectability and charm. The echoes of his crimes reverberated through the halls of the prestigious institutions he had infiltrated, institutions that had prided themselves on their commitment to excellence and the well-being of their students. The revelation sent shockwaves through communities across the globe, shattering the illusion of safety and trust that had cloaked Vahey's predatory behavior. Parents, grappling with a mixture of guilt, anger, and a profound sense of helplessness, questioned how such a monster could have operated undetected for so long, how their children, entrusted to the care of educators, could have been so brutally betrayed. The silence, once a shield that protected Vahey, had become a deafening indictment of a system that had failed to protect the vulnerable. A system that had prioritized reputation over accountability, silence over justice. The case of William James Vahey exposed the systemic failures that allowed him to operate with impunity for decades. It shone a harsh light on the vulnerabilities inherent in international schools, institutions often more concerned with protecting their reputations than confronting uncomfortable truths. Vahey's transient lifestyle, his ability to move seamlessly from one country to the next, exploited the lack of communication and coordination between law enforcement agencies across borders. He thrived in the shadows, his crimes hidden in plain sight, shielded by a system ill-equipped to track and punish predators who operated on a global scale. His case highlighted the critical need for increased vigilance, for robust background checks that extended beyond national borders, for a culture of transparency and accountability within educational institutions. It underscored the importance of listening to the voices of children, of creating safe spaces where they could report abuse without fear of reprisal, of believing their accounts even in the face of powerful denials and institutional pressure to protect the status quo. Vahey's ability to evade detection for so long was a testament not only to his own cunning and manipulative abilities, but also to the complacency and, in some cases, willful blindness of those around him. The whispers of his inappropriate behavior, the rumors that circulated among students and staff, were often ignored, dismissed as misunderstandings, or brushed aside out of fear of damaging the reputation of the institutions he infiltrated. The culture of silence, perpetuated by fear, loyalty, and a reluctance to confront uncomfortable truths, allowed Vahey to thrive, his crimes multiplying with each passing year. His victims scattered across the globe like fallen leaves in the wake of a storm. His case served as a stark reminder that predators often operate in plain sight, their true nature hidden behind masks of respectability, their crimes concealed by the very institutions that should be protecting the vulnerable. It highlighted the need for a fundamental shift in perspective, a move away from a culture of silence and denial towards a culture of vigilance, accountability, and unwavering support for victims of abuse. The legacy of William James Vahey is a chilling reminder of the darkness that can lurk beneath the surface of seemingly ordinary lives. His crimes, though horrific, serve as a call to action, a catalyst for change in a world where child sexual abuse remains a pervasive and often hidden epidemic. His case compels us to confront uncomfortable truths about the vulnerabilities inherent in our systems, the ways in which predators exploit those vulnerabilities, and the collective responsibility we share to protect the most vulnerable members of our society. The fight against child sexual abuse requires a multifaceted approach, one that encompasses prevention, education, support for victims, and relentless pursuit of justice for perpetrators. It demands a commitment to breaking the silence that surrounds these crimes, to creating a culture where victims feel safe to come forward, knowing their voices will be heard and their experiences believed. We must educate ourselves and our children about the tactics predators use, the warning signs of abuse, and the importance of speaking out against inappropriate behavior. We must hold institutions accountable for creating safe environments, for implementing robust child protection policies, and for responding swiftly and decisively to allegations of abuse. We must support organizations working tirelessly to prevent abuse, to provide counseling and advocacy for victims, and to bring perpetrators to justice. The fight against child sexual abuse is not a battle fought on a distant shore. It is a fight that takes place in our schools, our communities, and our homes. It is a fight that demands our unwavering attention, our collective action, and our unwavering commitment to creating a world where every child can live free from fear, exploitation, and the shadow of abuse. The legacy of William James Vahey, though born of darkness, can serve as a beacon, illuminating the path towards a safer, more just world for all children. In a shadowy underworld of crime, where the ordinary meets the extraordinary, you've been journeying with me, Jason King. We've dissected the minds of some of the most notorious serial killers, peeling back the layers of their darkest secrets. Every shadowy corner we've turned, every chilling confession we've analyzed, has been a step deeper into the abyss. But remember, the abyss also gazes back. So, brace yourself as we prepare to dive even deeper. Next time, we'll unravel a tale so twisted it will make your spine tingle with anticipation. An enigma so intricate it will have you questioning everything you thought you knew. Until then, keep your eyes open and your mind sharp. This is Jason King, signing off.